Hi everyone, Mike here, and this time I'm going to be painting one of the Serberys Raiders from Games Workshop. As you can see, I've assembled the entire mount and rider, but I've left the head, backpack, and sword separate to make them easier to paint. I'm priming everything in black, and I'm starting off with German Grey. I'm using this on all of the areas that I want to be black, but if you want, you can just highlight up from the primer color and save time. I just don't like the starkness of a pure black. I believe Corvus Black is the closest color from Games Workshop to this one. I'm painting all of the areas on the mount that look like there's some kind of fabric, as well as the face. On the Ranger himself, I'm painting the inside of the cloak. Next I'm switching to Mournfang Brown for all of the straps, saddle, and saddlebags. On the Ranger, I'm painting the glove on his left hand, his pouches, and also the pouches on the backpack. Next I'm going to use Agrax Earthshade wash and then some dry brushing on all the areas that were just painted with the Mournfang. This part is messy, so I want to get it out of the way before I get the other colors on. Once the Earthshade is dry, I'm dry brushing all of the same areas with XV88. I'm not worried about getting this everywhere, though I might have to touch up some of the German Grey. Next I'm painting all of the armor plates on the mount with a 2-to-1 mix of Mephiston Red and Abaddon Black. I'm doing this because I want to eventually highlight up to Mephiston Red. I'm going to use this exact same color for the cloak of the Ranger. I'm also remembering to paint the hood on the head as well. Now I'm going to paint all of the machine parts with gunmetal. Any silver will do for this. I'm using gunmetal because I like that it's a bit on the darker side and a bit grittier looking. If you have a lot of one color on a model, an easy way to break it up is with just some small accents of a different color. I'm going to be using a gold color for my accents, but I'm painting everything silver for now. So here's a progress picture of the mount so far. Now I'm going to continue using the gunmetal, this time on the Ranger. I'm painting all of his armor plates, his legs, and his right hand with this, as well as the cylinder of his rifle. Still using this gunmetal, I'm painting the entire face and all of the antennae, the one on the head and the 2 on the backpack. Now for that metal accent color I mentioned earlier. I like using a pale gold, so I'm mixing one of my favorite gold colors with a bit of bright silver. This is going over all the trim on the armor plates as well as some of the armor plates on the face. And just to break up all that silver on the legs, I'm painting all of the cylinders between the joints with this color as well. I'm also using this gold color on all of the ribbed cables on both the mount and the Ranger. And finally, I'm painting the knee pads on the Ranger. Next I'm switching to Balthazar Gold, though feel free to keep going with the last gold color for this part. I'm using this color for the remaining parts that are metal, so the devices attached to the chest of the mount and the canisters next to the pouches. I almost forgot the teeth. These are just getting a layer of pure shining silver. Now I'm painting all of these smooth cables with a dark green. This one is Stegadon scale green. I like to paint the different kinds of cables with different colors. It makes it feel like each type has a specific purpose. The next thing I'm doing is highlighting all of the red. I've thinned down some Mephiston Red with a little more than half water. I'm putting one layer of this all over the red armor, but I'm leaving a gap between this color and the trim on the armor. I want to keep a line of shadow there. Once that's dry, I'm adding another layer or two, but this time only to the top half of the armor plate. For the cloak, I mixed in a little more paint for a thicker mixture. This time I'm painting all of the raised parts of the folds in the fabric. I'm leaving all of the recesses the dark red color. For areas like the sleeves, I'm just painting the top half, and I'm always moving my brush strokes upward to the top of the sleeve. Similarly with the hood, I'm leaving the underside and the recesses dark and painting the rest with Mephiston Red. For the rifle, I'm using equal parts Rhinox Hide and Warplock Bronze. This is going over the entire rifle except the cylinder. For all the detailing on the rifle, I'm using bright bronze from Vallejo, though using that same gold and silver mix as before will look great as well. Next, I'm using Nuln Oil Gloss wash on everything that's meant to be metal. So this is obviously everything that's painted with a metallic color, but I'm also using it on the red armor plates on the mount. This is also going to set this red apart from the cloak so they don't look like they're made from the same material. Next, I'm going to paint the eyes, and I've already done a video on glowing green eyes, which you can see in the link here, or you can use the link in the description at the end of this video. If you just want simple eyes, I'd say paint the entire eye Warpstone Glow and then add a dot of Moot Green in the center. If you want suggestions on how to paint a different color of eye, just let me know in the comments section. Next, I'm going to do some very minimal highlights on the black. I'm using German Field Grey for this, but adding white to whatever black you used will work great. I'm just picking out any raised folds in the fabric with this color. I'm also going to paint these little spikes on the snout. So this mount is pretty well done. I'm going to spray this guy with a matte varnish and then glue it to the base. I'm also going to put down an earth texture all over the base and let that dry while I finish off the Ranger. First, the backpack. All the unpainted parts are getting a 50-50 mix of Abaddon Black and gunmetal. Then I'm picking out a few details with a bright red, blue, and green. Now I'm switching back to Nuln Oil Gloss, and I'm covering all of the metal parts with a Ranger with this, such as the cables, his legs, backpack, face, etc. This next part is optional, I'd say, but I want to frame the face with a brighter color, so I'm going to be using Evil Sunz Scarlet to edge highlight around the hood and the top of the scarf. The black part of the cloak is getting an edge highlight of German Field Grey, and yes, I should have done this earlier when I did the mount. Next, I'm painting the pants and the purity seal with Zandri Dust. Sorry for the crap quality of this part, but I'm just painting the AdMech symbol on the chest, one side with German Grey, the other side with Celestra Grey. For the binoculars, I've mixed equal parts Balthazar Gold and Shining Silver. Now I'm back to the Nuln Oil Gloss, and I know I said I covered everything before, but I didn't. So I'm doing that right now. The rifle and everything metal is getting the wash. Next I'm covering the pants, Purity Seal, and binoculars with Agrax Earthshade. I didn't like the shiny look of the binoculars. The pants and the Purity Seal are getting a highlight of Screaming Skull. I only painted the top half of the pants and the folds with this. The knee pads, binoculars, and backpack are all getting a light dry brush with Shining Silver just to make the edges pop. I'm using the simple method on the Ranger eyes, one thin coat of Warpstone Glow all over the eye, then a dab of Moot Green in the center. The wax part of the Purity Seal is getting painted with Screamer Pink, and I'll immediately follow that up with an edge highlight of Emperor's Children. For the writing on the seal, I use the lazy method. This is a 0.1 acrylic micron pen, and I'm writing the formula for string theory on here. I'm quickly touching up the lenses on the binoculars with some black, and then I'm moving on to the sword. All the detailing on the sword is getting a layer of silver. The scabbard is getting a layer of Barak-nar Burgundy. You don't really need to introduce a new color this far in, but I did want the sword to stand out a bit. And then once again with a Nuln Oil Gloss. I'm being careful here not to get it on the leather bits. Now finally we get to glue everything together. Once the glue is dry on the Ranger, I'm going to hit him with a layer of matte varnish before gluing him to the mount. Now you have to pick which planet your AdMech will be running around on. I'm going with a Class M planet and just painting the ground with some earthy looking colors. First a wash of a dark brown, then 2 layers of dry brush with lighter browns. Next I'm painting the rim of the base and slapping on a brush-on matte varnish before adding a mix of flock, which I'll be attaching with PVA glue. At this time, I'd like to say welcome to the newest member of Patreon, Ashley Moore. Welcome aboard! And there you have it, a Serberys Raider from the Adeptus Mechanicus. Thank you very much to all my patrons for supporting these videos, and a special thanks to Brian Jones. If you're looking for more info on basing, plasma weapons, heat-stained barrels, or anything else Warhammer, check out my Warhammer or Paint Tech playlists. If you have any questions about anything you saw in this video, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.